All right, welcome back, everyone. Lovely to see you all. And let's go straight into the superpower to start with. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, or keep them open if you prefer, and get into your superpower state however you normally do that, either by repeating your word or phrase, or by imagining holding your subject in your arms in a hug, or using the anchor, whatever works for you. And allow your heart to expand. Feel that expansion feeling in your chest. And imagine that light or energy shining out brightly, full of all the reasons you love your subject, all the things you appreciate. And now allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that power. And allow that light or energy to fill each of the cells of your body. Each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body, love each one just for existing. Those precious little cells that are working so hard for you. Love each one. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from you and fill the little you, yourself as a child, any age, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love that child just for existing. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from that child, that little you, and fill your whole childhood with that same bright light, that power, that energy. See how powerful that little you is with this energy shining out from them. It protects them, and it changes whatever they want to change, shining that light into the darkness. Very good. And now allow that light, that energy to fill everyone on the call today, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love everyone just for existing. Very good. And now allow your heart to open more and receive the love from everyone here, including me. That light, that energy, that power filling you up, adding to your own. And feel that expanding like an angel stretching their wings. Very good. And allow that power now to overflow from you and fill the space you're in, wherever you are now. Allow it to fill that space. Good job. And you can open your eyes if you have them closed. And let's find out how everyone's doing today. So we'll go around as usual, and for anyone new, I don't think we have anyone new live on the call, so that's okay. All right, so Sue, how are you doing today?
I was just telling Steve that I've just been really rolling in anger like a pig in a dirty, dirty pond.
Very good. And were you having fun?
No.
All right. So tell me what you do when you start to feel the anger come.
I breathe And I actually sort of like try and distance myself from it, but then it's like there's part of me that goes, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more.
Yes, and that's human. And so, yes, absolutely, yeah. And the reason you have that experience is because the anger is the same as any other stress emotion, and it's part of our survival system.
Yeah.
And so the chemicals that are associated with anger, that cause the feelings of anger, adrenaline, cortisol, stress chemicals, those are designed to get and hold our attention on the danger until the danger is gone, right? So because it's more important to be focusing on the tiger that's threatening us than on the pretty flowers.
Yes.
So that's the reason for it. And so then the challenge is to find different ways of overriding it, of overcoming it, overriding it. The most effective way to override it is to catch it early.
Yes.
So, of course, the earlier you catch it, the easier it is, because the levels of stress chemicals in your system are lower. They're not as high yet, number one. But of course, it's difficult when you haven't noticed until, by the time you notice, you're already well in it. So one of the ways of dealing with that is when you have that happen and you feel like, no, I want to, you want to stay fixed on it, is decide intellectually to love it, to love the anger. And
I was trying to do that today.
Okay, and how did that go?
It didn't go.
Okay, and so what happened when you tried?
Just nothing.
Okay, so you continue to feel angry?
Well, I suppose, what did I feel? My doggy's biting my hand because she wants to go and she wants me to feed her. What was I feeling? I don't know what I was feeling. But when I tried to, then I just go like, I want to be able to read the stuff and not get angry.
Okay.
I want to know what's going on around me and what all these funny people are doing, but not to be triggered by it.
Okay, very good. And that is the goal. The goal is to be able to watch the news, read the news, listen to people, social media, whatever, and not feel emotionally triggered and just be able to be strategic. Now to get there. So now if you think about, if you wanted to run a marathon, you can't just go out and run a marathon, right?
No.
You have to build your stamina first.
Yeah.
You'd have to run perhaps, just for a minute and then 5 minutes or whatever. You'd have to build that up.
Yes.
And that is exactly what this is like. So if you want to get from here to there, you can't just go there. You can't just start, watch the news and make yourself not be triggered, because it doesn't work that way. Just like running doesn't work that way.
Mm.
You have to be able to, first of all, get fit. And getting fit means practicing the skill of being able to control your own brain and body chemistry. And you can't start running a marathon in order to do that. You can't watch the news in order to do that. Now, it doesn't need to take long either. It's not like, it's going to take...
I've actually went through a phase several weeks ago where it was just like, and I was all full of it, like...
That's good.
And you just got to not let the stuff bother you. Like, it's something, and you got to, do this and you got to do that. And I was just really on top of it. Boy, sometimes it comes and it really, as they say, that comes and it claps you.
Claps you, yes. But now, think about this. If you were running a marathon and you managed to run a marathon, that would be fantastic, right? But let's say one day you twist your ankle. Now, you can't run the marathon, right? And so you take time to recover.
Yeah.
Once you've recovered and you've got strong again, then you go back in. So this is like, some days you can, some days you can't, and it'll depend on what else is going on for you. And not only that, it'll also depend on physically whether you've had enough sleep or rest, whether you've had enough water, nutrition. There's so many things, other emotional triggers. So when you find you can't, it doesn't mean that you can't. It just means that day you can't. And so you take a rest, you recover, and then you come back another time.
Yeah.
Does that explain it?
It does, yes. And it's also, I mean, like what Steve was saying just now, like you just have to take a while away from that kind of thing, and not, you know, if I'm feeling vulnerable like this, I must actually go like, okay, this is how I'm reacting today.
Yes.
I'm not going to do that today.
That's it. Exactly. Give yourself that break.
Yeah.
Yes. Emotionally as well as physically. So in addition to not exposing yourself to something that's triggering you, in addition to that, give yourself a break emotionally and go, it's okay. It's nothing wrong. It's just human.
Yeah.
All right. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, sweetheart. Yeah. Very proud.
I'm just going to go and feed my little dog so that she leaves me in peace.
Okay. Of course.
Sorry about that. Excuse me.
No, it's fine. All right. And then who was next? Cheryl, how are you today?
Well, I wanted to say something to Sue, but now she's gone. Just kidding. I can't see my screen. That's why you're seeing me making so much movement. I'm sorry. It's so bright outside. But I was just passing my Easy World wand, and I wanted to say, I live in Easy World where everything is easy.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to show her too that I have Dragon Ball Z cards in my house because my kids use them. So I'll tell her about that later. Okay. But anyway, I am feeling pretty good today. I woke up, well, I went to bed and I did my memory dreams, my memory garden dreams. And then this morning I woke up and I didn't really eat, but I feel like I did because I had a memory of my dad making us all French toast. Well, some people he made pancakes. He was very agreeable to make whatever anyone liked. And so we all had a scrumptious breakfast. And yeah, and then I've just been feeling a lot better about everything since I've been recreating the memories and using the phrase that I come from a long line of this, a long line of that. And then I have to go on and do the finance course too. So I have to get back into reading about that. But yesterday, did I share? I can't remember if I shared because I was so excited about it. My son's college sent us a check for $1,000.
Oh, yes. Yes, you said.
I said that, so that was good. And then there was, yeah, so that's it. I'm just feeling that the memories, recreating the memories is very powerful for me. It's just giving me like a sense of peace. And I'm not, like, I was explaining it to someone yesterday and they said, but it isn't real. And I said, but it doesn't matter. My subconscious mind doesn't know that it isn't real. And not just that, I just love the idea of recreating the whole thing to my liking. I mean, what's wrong with it, you know?
So excited for you, Cheryl. I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Thank you. So I think my target for today would be to continue with the letting go of stuff in my house.
Good. All right. Very, very good. And thank you for bringing up the thing of, but it's not real, because that's worth talking about as well, because a lot of people have that, and, you know, I did to begin with as well. And the answer to that is we don't we don't sit through a movie going, but it's not real. But it's not real, right? We watch the movie and we allow ourselves to get absorbed in it because that's the experience. And so just because something's not real doesn't mean you can't think of it. And what's it called? Visualization of the future is not real either, but it's still, you know, acceptable to do. So that's, but you gave a good answer there, of course, as well, is that in addition to that, your subconscious doesn't know that. So that's.
Yes. And Odille, you know, I've been studying Abe Hicks for years and years and years and years and trying all that. And it has never been as effective as this. I think you're right. It's kind of going backwards. So this is kind of getting to the root of it, like you said, in the garden, pulling up the roots. I think I was just getting more and more weeds.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's, you know, thinking of the future or visualizing the future and all of that and staying in the vortex, all of that is good, is nothing wrong with it, but you have to make sure that the childhood references match that it's a match, because otherwise it's like saying to your GPS, I really want to go to the beach. I really want to go, come on, let's go to the beach. We're going to the beach. We are at the beach. But as long as you don't change those coordinates in the GPS, you're not going to get there.
Yes, or if you have a flat tire. And then I just wanted to say, I'll just say it about Sue, because, you know, talking about the Dragon Ball Z cards and having your power and stuff. And then when you think about smoking, I think that when a person smokes, that they're giving away their control. Like with any addiction, you're giving away your power, because you're giving the item that you're addicted to, or you know you need to have, you're giving your power away to that thing. So anyway, that's just something that helped me. I never smoked, but with other things, I think I want to have control of my surroundings and my own power. So
thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that. And I'm going to add a little bit to the smoking now as well. So thank you for sharing that. That's very good. And so with smoking and any other addiction, it's going to depend on the individual and the references they have. So I used to smoke. I smoked a lot and I loved it. I had no intention of ever giving it up. I enjoyed it. So, you know, for me, that idea of giving your power away didn't resonate with me, simply because, well, I liked it. So I'm not giving my power away because I like it. But when I stopped, it was completely unintentional. I was doing the work inside me and changing, you know, it was the superpower, actually. It was coming to the place where I was living from a state of unconditional love for myself and everything around me. And one day I used to like to smoke in the car. When I got in the car to drive somewhere, that was one of the times that I liked it and that I enjoyed it. And I, you know, couldn't have thought, what do you do? What else do you do while you're driving? It was that, you know, that big a connection. And one day I got in the car to drive somewhere, I lit a cigarette and I went, oh my God, that's awful. And I put it out and I just didn't like it anymore. So and that is because I had changed the inside of my who I am and how the world works. And so I loved me, but subconsciously. So it wasn't the conscious mind that gave up smoking, it was the subconscious. And I think that if I'm correct in guessing, I'm thinking for Sue, it's because South Africa, you're not allowed to buy cigarettes now, right? Cigarettes are alcohol. So then you're being put in a position where you don't have the choice. And that just that's going to add extra stuff to it, depending on what references are there, of course. So it adds extra stress chemicals. And in addition to that, depending on, so for me, anything like a diet or giving up something, in my references, it was, if I can't have it, I really want it. And so the way I would stop eating like too much chocolate and that was, I always had it in the house. And then it was my choice. And I would go, it's there. And if I really, really want it, I can have it. But then I don't have that urgency. Oh, I can't get it. I can't get it. So for me, that was my reference. But again, changing those references, finding out where those which references those are, and then changing them to the opposite, positive and empowering, especially if there's nothing we can do about the situation like at the moment. So I know my brother is in South Africa and he smokes, and he kind of thought ahead of time he wanted to give up, and of course he's recovering from cancer. And so he used it as an opportunity to put himself in a position where he couldn't get it so that he could give up that way. That wouldn't have worked for me. So different people, it's about finding your own references and changing them. So hopefully that helps. All right. And hopefully it helps others who are watching this too. So Lisa, little unicorn Lisa.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm having a good time. Can't you tell? I noticed that, and this is beautiful. I noticed that a couple of days ago, or, just in general, when we do the love state, that I get more and more awesome impressions of things. So the other day, was a couple days ago, a couple mornings, I had visualized, well, it appeared to me to do, I was in my child state and doing the love thing. And so I kept visualizing, or it came to me, these giant pens, like, you know, pens to sign contracts with, you know, and just laughed. So, right. So I found these giant.
Oh, lovely.
And I was like, they had little princesses on them. And then one had Wonder Woman. And so I'm signing my contracts to my massive mansion.
I love that.
It was so fun. I was like, oh my God. So I thought I would share that.
That is fantastic. Good job. And then in addition to that, give the little you those pens as well to sign contracts to whatever she wants and that kind of thing. So use that to line up with your childhood as well.
Yeah. That's what kept appearing to me. So that's really awesome. So yeah, I do. And I noticed that every time I do stuff in my child state, that things are starting to physically manifest like the pens. So, you know what I mean? So I think that's so cool.
Yes. Oh, well done. And of course, I'm sorry. Yes, I've just realized you said you were in the child state when you did that. So
yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
I want to jump in and just highlight, or, you know, congratulations for really embracing being in your imagination. I think imagination is your most powerful tool in all of this. And the sense of joy and happiness that you bring to what you're doing, I think is amazing. I think for, as I've worked with hundreds of clients, the getting back into and revising memories sort of feels like we're engaging. I sort of feel honored or empowered to kind of come and play in their sandbox for the day. You know, like we're creating, we're doing all of this work in this imaginary universe, but it has the power of transforming your life right now. So it's like, yay, you keep up the good work on the imagination.
Thank you. I noticed another thing too, is like, since I write for kids, that my impressions just come, like, I'll do this state and they'll just, like, I'll be walking and all of a sudden, bam, I'll just see an image of what I need to draw and illustrate. And I think that's really cool too, because it comes really quickly and what I need to know. So I noticed that shift of, like, anything you need is there at your disposal, you know? So it's super fun. So awesome. I'm so grateful for you guys. And by the way, I love the subconscious reprogramming business little book that I have. I bought it. So it's very, very good too. So just thought I'd let people know about that.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes. So for anyone who's interested, it's called
reprogramming your subconscious mind for business success.
That's right, and it's on Amazon. So if anybody is interested in that, you can check that out. Thank you for sharing that, Lisa, and thank you so much for bringing such beautiful light and delight to us. You are such a pleasure to look at today, especially.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and Katrina, how are you today?
Yeah, that's a hard act to follow.
Luckily, you don't have to.
Oh, goodness. Well, yes, I'm feeling good, as I'm at peace with my mum, and that feels really good to me.
Good.
Because I worked on 2 memories yesterday, and they were the main drivers behind me in the ditch most of the time. So it's just fantastic that, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good, so that's it. Not as good as Lisa, but yeah, I'm getting there.
Well, here's the thing, that's great that you're feeling good, but what I want to say is well done for allowing yourself to feel good. For allowing yourself to feel good and for allowing yourself to do the work that led to you feeling good. So, you know, this information and these techniques and all that is available for everybody, but not everyone is in a position, you know, in that state where they're able to do it, or they're ready to do it. And, you know, so we always have great respect for those who do what it takes to, you know, who want to and do what it takes. And that includes everyone who comes to these, whether you've made the progress you wanted to make or not, you're here and you're trying. And that says everything, because the only way you don't get there is if you stop, of course, you know. So well done, Katrina. I am so proud of you and so excited for you. Good job. You're a beautiful, shiny example. Good job.
What can I say? I mean, you're fabulous. I mean, only for you. You've transformed my life, only for you.
Fantastic. I'm so glad. It's an absolute pleasure. Yay. And do you have any targets for today?
No, I'm wonderful. For today, I'm wonderful. Yes, but so let everyone else be targets, and I'll target them as well.
All right. Thank you, Katrina, and thank you so much for sharing that. That's wonderful to hear. And Wanda, how are you today?
Good. I just have a target today. It's official that we're going to work full-time next week.
Okay.
And our team are kind of like scared to go, and we want to start like part-time, but I don't think that it's going to happen. So I just want to target me and the team, because we are kind of like a little worried to go full-time.
Very good. And so what's the fear? What's the worst that can happen? What are you most frightened of?
Well, to get the COVID-19, it's a hospital, and we work with HIV patients.
Oh yes.
And so they're willing to come in, and we're not willing to see them.
Okay.
So that's what we wanted. That's what I would like to target, so we could feel comfortable that
absolutely
it's okay, and that they're going to take the precautions for us to see them.
That's it. Okay, good. So so Steve will be adding that to the group. So we'll to the list. So we'll definitely do that. And then in addition to that, you know, if you think about, if you get COVID-19, what's the worst thing that will happen? What's the worst thing about it?
That you could die, or you could have like effects of the virus after you recover, like this, like repercussion on your body, your lungs, and the stuff that some people get.
Okay.
If it's not a mild one.
Okay. And how does that feel when you think about that?
Scary, alone.
Scary and alone. Good. And where in your childhood did you feel scared and alone? And it may or may not have anything to do with you know, a disease or anything.
It probably could be when I moved to this country.
Right. Okay. About how old were you then?
16.
Okay. So anything before that? Feeling scared and alone. And if you can't think of anything, that's okay.
The only thing I could think of is when my grandmother died, and I was 8.
You were 8. Okay. And how do you remember anything about that?
Just hiding.
Hiding. There you go. And so why were you hiding?
Because back in the day, they used to have the body in the house, not at a funeral home.
Okay. And
so they do that in the living room. So I was hiding in the closet.
Right. And
I
why?
didn't want to see it.
What was wrong?
I didn't want to see it.
Ah, okay. So that sounds like it could be a very good reference there for this, for this fear. So I would say go back to that definitely. So we'll send love to it all today anyway, and send love to that little you hiding in the closet and the whole situation, your grandmother and all of that, and then change it. Change it so that number one, so you can do a stepping stone where you were hiding in the closet because you were playing hide and seek, and your grandmother's body was not in the living room. Perhaps your grandmother was just in the living room. Maybe she was looking for you. Maybe you were all playing hide and seek and your grandma was looking for everybody, or something like that, right? Or it's a party, it's your grandmother's birthday. And so she's in the living room, but if it's a celebration, she's wearing a party hat or however, you know, whatever, there's music, and you're hiding in the closet because you are going to do a surprise for her, or it's a surprise party. So change it to whatever feels fun, exciting, and safe.
Okay.
That sound good?
It sounds good. I never thought of that.
So once you've done that, once you've got the new memory, practice it 3 times in a row, and then think about going back to work and see if that fear has changed at all. And then, you know, keep doing that process, because you want to be able to be in a strategic state where you're not frightened, but you're going to be strategic. In other words, you know how to be safe. You know what needs to happen and what needs to be done in order for you and your team to stay safe. And so then you don't need to be frightened in order to do that. And you will be better at it if you've got your prefrontal cortex online. You'll be able to think of the solutions and options, and you'll be able to communicate them effectively. So if there's something that needs to be done and someone's not doing it, you'll be in a empowered state to say, listen, you know, just to let you know, this needs to happen, or whatever it is, you'll be able to do that more effectively. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Good job. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. And then we have the next one. Now, this has been sent to me privately. So shall I read it out without the name, or shall I ask you in person? You can send me a text. I can say your name. Okay. All right. So Swasti says, "Hi, Odille. I got rejected from medical school yesterday yet again. So I just wanted to discuss something about that, especially about childhood memories. Thank you." Okay, good. So Swasti, first of all, I'm sorry that you got rejected, but the good news is that's not the end of the world, and I'll tell you why. So first of all, you know, we'll send love to that whole thing today as well, to that whole situation and whatever it is that you want to achieve. Now, I want to tell you a story, first of all. It's a true story about someone who started using the superpower when I very first created it. And in fact, she's in my book, You Have a Superpower. Snigdha is her name. She edited the book for me as well as being a client. She was, when we first met online, we were part of a forum, in fact, the same forum I met Cheryl on. So the Powerful Intentions Forum, which is to do with the law of attraction and that. And Snigdha wrote to me asking me about the information about unconditional love. She was living in Pakistan at that time. Her father is a diplomat, and they had been stationed, she's from India, but they'd been stationed in Pakistan. And she desperately wanted to live in America. Her dream was to live in America, in New York specifically. And she was, you know, she was in a job that she wasn't happy in. And so her life wasn't the way she wanted it. Now, we emailed back and forth, and I talked her through the unconditional love process that we are doing in these sessions, to love everything anyway, even if she never got to New York, she never went to America at all, even if she had to stay in the job, love the people, all of that, aiming that power at everything she didn't want, shining the light into darkness. Within, I think, it's back in 2011 or something, so it's a while ago now, so I can't remember exactly, but the details are in the book, I think. But within, I think it was just a couple of days of me sending the first message to her, I got an email from her with all caps. Actually, no, I think it was within a couple of hours or something. An email, all caps, "What do you do if you're fired?" Just like, okay. So what had happened was she had been not only let go, but told that the company couldn't afford to pay her for the last month that she'd worked. It was very sudden, it was unexpected. So it was nothing she'd done wrong. It was just that the company couldn't afford to pay, and so they were letting people go. And of course, she was triggered, and she was, what? And she, how do you love that? Because she was frightened. Now, so I said to her, you can't create anything bad. Now that you know you love yourself, you cannot create anything bad. This looks bad, but it can't be. So it has to turn out to be either good or nothing to worry about. So do whatever it takes, send love. Fill the whole thing with love, even if you never get another job, even if you never get any more money, and love them, love the job, love the fact that they're not going to pay you, all of that. Sometime later, and I can't remember how long it was, but it wasn't long, it was like a day or two, she wrote, let me know that she was headhunted by somebody. The CEO of the company was calling her to do an interview online, and she had done the application and all that, and she got that job, and it was working from home, doing what she loved doing, which I believe was social media consultancy or something. So she got that job, and then she heard from the company that the previous company, they were going to pay her for, I think it was March, that previous month. So that was great. Then this happened over and over, where things looked like they weren't going to be good, and she wasn't going to get what she wanted. And then she continued sending the love, using the superpower, and cut a long story short, I mean, you know, it was a while, but she is now living in America, married to the love of her life, who she met in, so her father was stationed not to New York, but to Atlanta, Georgia, yes. And he was stationed there, and that was like the very next move that he had. So it could have been anywhere in the world. It was Atlanta, which meant she automatically got a 5-year visa to live and work in America. While she was there, she met her now husband, who is lovely. They're so happy. He happened to be working in Seattle for Microsoft. And then there was the big thing with her parents didn't know, and there was a lot of stuff going on around that. And again, she kept using the superpower no matter what. There was a problem with the visa. She may have to go back to India. And she didn't want to, and they kept doing the superpower. Love it all anyway, no matter what, love it all anyway. And she's obviously a resident in America now. She's married to her husband, who works for Microsoft, and he has residency here, and they are ecstatically happy. So all of the things that look like they're going to go wrong. So the point I'm getting to, Swasti, is that the fact that you didn't get the medical thing, that may be the only thing you can see at the moment that is a way to get to where you want to be, but it may not. And as long as you stay in a state of unconditional love, love it all anyway, love the people, love the fact that you didn't get it, love yourself, love whatever may come, then you're allowing other opportunities that you wouldn't have got. So if she'd been upset by the fact that she couldn't come to America, or that she lost her job or whatever, she may not have allowed in all the sequence of events that led to where she is now. And there were a lot of other things that I'm not giving all the details, of course, but it was, she had plenty of practice to become a master at the superpower, let's put it that way, but she is now living her dream. So I hope that helps, and we will continue to aim at it. And as for childhood memories, because she also then, you know, while I was, so she was doing the superpower, and then when I found out about the childhood memories, I shared that with her as well. And so with the childhood memories, again, what does it mean to you that you have been, that you didn't get that position with the medical school? So what's the worst thing about it, or what does it mean to you? And then how does it feel? And then where in your childhood did you have the same feeling? And what you're aiming for is that your whole childhood was relaxed and loving and fun and affectionate, and you had everything you wanted. All right. Does that help? Okay, good, good. And let me know if you need any more, help. Oh, yes, absolutely, with pleasure. There you go. I didn't want to put you on the spot if you didn't want to.
So I was like changing childhood memories, but I had an issue with like people's reactions. Like I couldn't change them easily. So yeah, I just tried, but when I look back, they weren't actually changed and there was still like negative references there.
Okay, very good. So there may be an anchor. So is this in your childhood memories? The reactions aren't changing?
No, this is like a year ago. So I'm 18, so when I was 17.
Of course. Okay. So earlier memories of that kind of reaction or that feeling, do you have any earlier memories from childhood?
Yeah, I do, but I can change those for some reason, but just not like the recent ones.
Okay, good. So what's the worst thing about the recent ones? And you don't have to give details if you don't want to, but just what's the worst thing about it?
I think so when school was on a couple of months ago, so everybody was getting there were 7 people who were getting medical school offers. Like I was one of them who kept getting rejected one after the other, but they kept getting more and I kept getting less.
Oh,
so
all right.
Sense of feeling left out.
Yes, everybody else is getting it and not me. So yeah. I have that. That's something that I addressed in myself. So when you were a small child, did you ever have that feeling like other people are getting something and I'm not?
Yeah. I had a reference and I think I changed it. It was so we had a writing prize. So this was when I was in India when I was 6 years old. And I didn't get it.
Okay. And so what was the problem with you not getting it? What happened?
Well, I just felt sad and left out. It was it's the same feeling.
That's it.
Feeling left out because you're not getting it, but everybody else is.
Yes. And so your subconscious has given meaning to that, what it means about you if you're not getting it. So how did your parents react or respond or anybody else around you when you didn't get that prize when you were 6?
Well, my parents weren't with me then, but I had my auntie and grandparents. Another worst thing about it was because I lived with my cousin then, and he got it. So we lived in the same household.
Right.
So his medal was up on the wall, but obviously I didn't have one.
Right. And so what was the reaction around you then from your cousin?
I can't remember, but I don't know. Because my auntie was really nice to me, so she probably said something nice, but that's probably why I can't remember because it's not negative.
Right, okay. And so can you imagine, can you just right now imagine that you got that prize and it was up on the wall and your cousin didn't get it?
Yeah.
Yeah? And how does that?
I had the medal.
Yeah, very good. So practice that new memory of you got that prize and he didn't. Okay, and then do whatever it takes to rewrite your entire childhood that you always got everything. All right. And you were an only child, so this is separate data. You can do the thing with your cousin, and then you can also create a timeline where you were an only child. You had both parents with you all the time. They doted on you. You couldn't do anything wrong. And you got everything you ever wanted, and create memories of being in school and you are the one called up and Swasti wins and I want you all to be like Swasti. Look at, so build, so you don't have to just change memories, you can create new ones. Right?
Okay.
And as you do that, you may find that memories come up contradicted and then just change those.
Okay.
Another little tool that you can add to this, Swasti, is finding a character that you admire, that you look up to. can be fictional, can be non-fictional, but is there somebody that you look up to now as somebody who embodies that feeling of, you know, they can do it, there's confidence, they always win, anything like that? Is there a character that comes to mind, a person?
Well, there's a YouTuber.
Good.
She's like around the same age as me, called Hayley Sunny. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's like
Awesome.
a really confident person. Yeah.
So do this. Just take a couple of seconds right now. Imagine her. Imagine Hayley standing in front of you right now. Imagine what she looks like. Imagine how she's standing. Imagine how she might be walking. Imagine the expression on her face. And then imagine stepping inside. Imagine what it feels like to be Hayley. And are you able to do that? Can you catch that feeling?
I feel confident.
That's it. That's it. So borrow that feeling and amplify that feeling, and then take that back and put it into those childhood memories. That confident little you. Yeah. She just won the medal. Look at you. And you put it on YouTube.
Yeah, give that little you a YouTube channel as well. Might as well.
Okay.
Just for fun. Very good. Thank you, Swasti.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, sweetheart. And thank you so much for sharing, because it helps others as well. Good job. All right. And then Chris. Hi, Chris. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Sorry I arrived a little late. This is it's got a good reason, very positive reason. I've been out for a walk with my daughter and granddaughter. So yesterday we were aimed at the situation. However it was going to be, whether it was staying the same, I'm so grateful for. And there was a bit of a hiatus, certainly from Maggie yesterday evening. And this morning she gradually opened up, but it could have gone either way.
Yes.
But it resolved. There was a pathway coming. Yes. And then, so that was good. And we made plans and how we were going to manage, the coming week or so. And then I know she goes for a walk with the baby, and I just said, "Oh, could I come for a walk with you?" And I did. Oh, and it was just so nice. It was so lovely, just like old times. And then penny drop. Takes me a long time for some pennies to drop. Of course, on the way back. Of course, it was a superpower of work. It did it. So thank you. Well done. We did it. We did it. So we'll keep doing it. That's my intention. And my keep aiming, please.
I'm so happy for you, and so excited for you, and so proud of you. Well done.
Thank you for saying that. That makes me feel like a little girl.
Yes, and it's true. It's really, we know that this can be very hard to do. We've done it ourselves, so we know how difficult it can be when you're dealing with, if you were in a retreat somewhere, it's all very easy to do, but we're dealing with daily life and the challenges we have, and we're still dealing with stuff we've created from before. It can be so hard. So well done. I am so very proud of you. Good job.
But thank you to all. And I did send, I've been doing loads of, I've been in superpower mode a lot of the time, which is it's great. And that works for me. And I sent some to everyone last evening, just before going to bed. I lay there, and so I hope it came showering. And I'm sure it has, in one shape or form. It has. I know that.
Indeed. Absolutely.
So that's everybody.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. All right. And so anybody else who's not on camera, if you want to say anything or ask anything, do unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Let's see. Caro says, hi, everyone. My target for today is my daughter. Okay. Yesterday, I snapped at her and her dad got angry. And so did I. And we totally lost it in front of her. And I'm ashamed and feel like a bad mum and feel like the relationship we have, her dad and I, is ruining everything because we can't spend a day without fighting at the moment. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, Caro. And so a couple of things here. So we will, Steve, I'm sure you've added that to the list. So we will absolutely aim the superpower at that. And then in addition, of course, to find and change any childhood memory. So the first part of this is that you are absolutely not a bad mom. You are nowhere near, in any stretch of the imagination, a bad mom. You're just human. All right, so you're a human, and that happens. We all have that. Where it makes the difference is afterwards. So we all get triggered. We all react, in the moment. But it's once you realize what's happened, the first thing is what's my attitude toward me? Because children are watching how we're treating ourselves. So, fill yourself with love as soon as you can. Sometimes it may take a little while to recover or whatever, and give yourself that break. Just know that it wasn't the adult you that was responding. It was the child in you that reacted that way. And just like any child, they need, you need to be patient and kind and encouraging to yourself. Okay, and then once that's done, then you can, and once you're feeling good, then you can go and find the childhood references and change those to the opposite, positive and empowering. And there was something else I was going to say. What was it? Oh, due justice. You may need to do a due justice letter, and another one. So when you think of the situation with your daughter's dad, what was it, what was the emotions there? Where in your childhood did you feel them? And who does he represent from your childhood? Who does he remind you of and represent from your childhood? And do those due justice letters to them, to whoever that is. And then you can change the memory. So I hope that helps, as well as adding it to the target list. Let's have a look. So there's some back and forth. Wow, Odille, I hope I can give you all the same story in a few weeks. Moved out of here in a quiet place and living with a wonderful man. Yes, absolutely. So it's sticking to that superpower. It's sticking to loving everything anyway, aiming that power at what you don't want. That's that, and changing the childhood memories. That's the key. And when you can't, so you're not going to be able to do it consistently. And Snigdha couldn't do it consistently either, and neither could I. But it's falling off the bicycle. It's just when you can, get back on and aim again. So giving yourself that leeway and that understanding that sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But the main thing is that you do when you can, you get back. And then some messages to each other, which is lovely. Nice for Swasti, well deserved. And lovely. As Cheryl says, I feel so much love for all of you now. My heart is full. Love is emanating from our group, Superheroes. Yes, indeed. Chris says, Wanda's story brought to mind a technique Odille and Steve have described, and I am now using. My mother and father, now deceased, are sitting in comfy chairs in another room and have in the last few days been joined by my grandparents and my aunties. It's so cool. And young mummy is now doing daily PE, Dr. Joe, and meditation with me. Daddy is boxing with me. Fantastic, Chris. And thank you so much for sharing that, because that's such a lovely example of what's possible. So allow yourselves to create like that, because your subconscious doesn't know. Your subconscious doesn't know that that's unrealistic or that it's illogical, anything like that. Fantastic. All right. So I think that's all the check-ins for now. We'll do the aiming now. So Steve, if you could send me the target list, and let's begin. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer, and go into your superpower state, however you do that. So using your word or phrase or the anchor, or imagining holding your subject in your arms in the hug. focusing on everything you love about them and appreciate about them. And feel that opening in your heart, that expansion from your heart, where the light is. And imagine that light or energy spreading down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy. And fill each of the cells of your body with that light or energy. Love each cell just for existing. And now fill your subject with that light or energy just for existing. And imagine them trying to get away from you or rejecting you in some way or being miserable, and keep them filled with that same light, that energy. Love them anyway. Very good. And now let's fill Sue with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Sue just for existing. And allow that light or energy to fill any anger, any triggers, any other negative thoughts or emotions. Fill it all with that light, that energy, shining the light into any darkness. Love it all anyway, exactly as it is, even if it never changes. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from Sue and fill her whole life with that light, that energy. Everyone, everything in Sue's life filled with that light or energy, that love. Love it all anyway, exactly as it is, even if it never changes. That is your power, shining that light into darkness. Good job. And now to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her unicorn horn and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her whole life, everything and everyone in her life, with that same light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is. Good job. And now over to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti just for existing. Now allow that light or energy to fill any medical school applications. The one she received yesterday that was a negative. Love that anyway. Shine that light into darkness. Fill everything and everyone in Swasti's life with that same light, that energy. Love it all anyway, no matter what. Feel that power. And all that potential that can't be seen yet. Fill it all with that light, that love, that energy. And whatever is in Swasti's childhood that may be contributing to anything she's feeling today, love it all anyway. Love everyone, everything. Good job. Very good. And now to Chris. Fill Chris with that same light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Chris just for existing. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Chris and fill her daughter and her granddaughter with that same light, that energy, that love. Love them all just for existing. And now to Wanda. Fill Wanda with that same light or energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Wanda just for existing. And thinking of next week, Wanda going back to work, allow that light or energy to overflow from Wanda and fill her whole team with that light, that energy, forming those white light energy hazmat suits around them. Protection, pure unconditional love protection. And allow that light or energy to fill Wanda's workplace and everyone in it, no matter what. No matter what happens, shining the light into any darkness, allowing the whole workplace and everyone in it, including Wanda and her team, to be filled with that same light, that love, that energy, loving it all just for existing. Very good. And now to Katrina. Fill Katrina with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. So she's now full of that light, that energy. Love Katrina just for existing. Very, very good. And now to Caro. Fill Caro with that same light, that energy from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. So she's now full of that light, that energy. And allow that light or energy to fill all the cells of her body. Love Caro just for existing. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from Caro and fill her daughter and her daughter's father, from the tips of their toes to the top of their heads and out to their fingertips. So they're now full of that light, that energy as well, no matter what. Love them exactly as they are, just for existing. And love the tension or conflict that's been going on. Fill it all with that light, that energy, shining the light into the darkness. Love it all, whether it changes or not. That's the power. Very, very good. And now to Cheryl. Fill Cheryl with that same light, that energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Cheryl just for existing. Now allow that light or energy to overflow from Cheryl and fill all the stuff in her home and in her life. Fill it all with light and energy. Love it all exactly as it is, whether it stays or it goes, no matter what happens, shining that light into the darkness. Love it all anyway. Good job. And now, a friend of ours who we'd like to add to the list, who has just been diagnosed with Lyme disease. Fill her with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. So she's now full of that light, that energy. Love her just for existing. And love whatever's causing the Lyme disease. Love the symptoms. Love her whether she heals or not. Fill it all with that light, that energy, shining that light into the darkness, loving it all exactly as it is, whether it changes or not. Very, very good job. And now think of yourself later today, and think of that you and fill that you with that same light, that energy, no matter what happens, no matter what you experience or how you feel. Fill that version of you with that light, that energy. Love that version of you no matter what, exactly as you are. And now to everyone else who's on this call that's not on camera, love all of them just for existing, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head, out to their fingertips. Fill them with that same light, that energy, that love, exactly as they are. And for everyone watching the recording, fill them with that light, that energy, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love them just for existing. And now open your hearts further to receive the light and the energy from me. Pure, unconditional love, loving you exactly as you are, no matter what. Filling you up, adding to your own power. Very, very good. Good job. And you can open your eyes. And how's everyone feeling? Any questions or comments before we go? Good job, everyone. I am so impressed with all of you for turning up each day. I'm very, very impressed with all of you. Good job. All right. Swasti says, thank you. I feel so good now. Yay, Swasti. Good job. And well done for allowing yourself to feel good. Because, you know, a lot of us are so used to not being allowed to feel good that it becomes a habit, and it's quite difficult sometimes to override that. So when you do, it's fantastic because you're leveling up every time you're able to do that. Good job. Fantastic. Thank you. Beautiful, powerful love. Good. And lots of love to everyone from Lisa. Very, very good. And so same thing over, you know, until tomorrow. Practice filling yourself first, of course, and then aiming at easy targets, you know, inanimate objects and things that bother you just a little bit. It's
really difficult to sit here and not imagine all of us being 6 years old, especially with Lisa, you know, Lisa's unicorn today. So thank you for that, Lisa. It's just so easy to imagine sending love to all of the little us, all of the little yous out there, you know. So it's just fun to imagine us all being 6 years old playing at Lisa's house today.
Absolutely. With the pens, yeah. That's wonderful. So thank you all, and look after yourselves, and of course sending you all lots of love, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye-bye now. Bye.